Downtown Development Authority meeting. Chairman Blair, I'd like to turn over to you.
All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to take roll. Ackley.
Here.
Allen. Blair.
Here.
Easter. Lublin.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Michigan. Millen.
Here.
McDonald.
Here.
Smith. Amen.
Here.
Chairman Blair, we do have a quorum this afternoon.
Excellent. Any requests for agenda changes? And I need somebody to approve the minutes from September 13th. Can I get somebody to make a motion?
Motion to approve minutes from September 13th.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On any correspondence?
No correspondence this month.
And is there anybody in the audience that would like to participate?
If there are any members of the public who are wishing to address the board, you have 3 minutes to speak. If you are attending in person, please state your name and address. If you are attending electronically, please activate the raise hand feature by pressing *9. No raised hands electronically and no one in person.
Any unfinished business from September 13th?
No, sir.
New business?
Mr. Chairman, under new business, seems appropriate. I want to bring up to see if there was any objections to changing the ordinance downtown. I expect to have an ordinance, a recommended change in timing downstairs, so our business can be open from a little longer than they've been restricted to, from 9 o'clock to 11. Some of you are downtown may not want to keep your business open that long, but I'm going to propose an ordinance for the coming meeting October for first reading to amend that section that restricts certain businesses to 9 o'clock and allow them to be open to 11. The bars are already open. I don't know why other businesses should be restricted, so I'm going to propose that. Don't know if the votes are there for it, but I'm going to make that proposal as to try to improve our activity downtown and get it kicked up for the coming year. So, anybody object to that as a businessman or if you live down there? But the bars are open anyway. We're already down there, and restricting some businesses makes no sense to me. So
Can we approve that right here and now?
no, well, you don't have to approve it. If you object to it, I want to know, because as a business owners, downtown, I figure there's one or two who won't object, but there could be somebody. You could, I would solicit a motion that suggests a change of remove the restrictions from 9 to 11 downtown and put it in the form of an ordinance. So you can give me some support in that as a DDA.
I'd be happy to support.
Well,
Does anybody have any objection?
I'll make a motion to support the changing of the closing of businesses from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Thank you.
Before you get discussion, Mayor, you did you get that?
I got it, sir.
I didn't hear you object, so I'm going to take that as you're going to run the next meeting, and I'm going to make that proposal. So I think I'm ready for the vote. That'd be good. I'd like that.
Let's see, motion made by Lublin, and who second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ackley,
Yes.
Allen, Blair,
Yes.
Easter, Lublin,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Michigan, Millen,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Smith, Amen.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes.
That motion passed. What that does for us is that when we open the year next year, summertime, all restrictions are returned, and we're hoping that that's when we turn downtown into better than it's ever been. It's already moving in that direction, but we got a little more work to do. Ms. Jakeways is going to report a little bit to you today on some of the activity downtown, including what's happening or not happening on Pontiac Trail. So whenever Mr. Chairman is ready to go into reports, we'll get to that. But
Okay.
yeah, we're going to be talking about mostly reports today, so you folks know
Fine.
where we are.
How about you start us out?
Well, the executive director's report, managing director is going to handle probably everyone there. So, Ms. Jakeways, are you ready?
Yes. So first on our agenda for discussion this afternoon is Farmers Market 23rd Week Report. So we are closing out our 2022 season. We've got about 3 markets left for this year, and it's been, we've definitely seen some growth at our farmers market with interest in vendors, but also an increase in patrons that are visiting the site. So I'm pleased to report that our season so far has been a success, and I'm looking forward to closing it out on the 26th. We will be hosting a harvest festival during the market hours from 11 to 1. We'll be inviting All City Dogs food truck. They've visited our sites last year, and they also attended our tree lighting ceremony last year, so they're familiar with Walled Lake. So they'll be coming out and providing hot food during the festival. We'll also be having a petting zoo and pony rides for the younger children to enjoy during the festival. And we'll also be including a inflatable obstacle course, which will be available for the kids to use as well. And we will also be inviting a local musician that we've used multiple times during this season to do some live entertainment during the Harvest Festival. So we're looking forward to wrapping up and celebrating a successful 2022 season. But I'm pleased with the direction that we're taking the farmers market and also the help that I've been receiving with Ms. Hall. But it's been a good season so far, and looking forward to more growth for next year.
How about our intern? When is she done for the season?
She will be helping us in the front office and in the police department after the end of our farmers market, but she's going to be working in both departments after the season is done, but she'll continue to work and
Great.
help. Mhm.
I have a question. So this is on Wednesday,
Correct.
right? So a lot of those events, many of the kids are going to be in school?
Correct. Last year, we did have a similar event that was hosted during the day, but what we found was that there are a lot of younger kids who are in preschool and are maybe in kindergarten as well, who came out last year. So there is an audience for some of the moms who may be at home during the day to take their kids out. So that was one of the concerns that was brought up last year, but we did have a pretty good turnout for some of the younger kids. So we'll be having activity.
Of the older kids either?
There is some merit in that thought, yes. Are we going to give them an update on the ribbon cutting and give us a briefing on that? It seems to follow with the farmers market. So.
Yes, so on that same day, October 26th, will be the eagerly anticipated opening of our pedestrian bridge that connects the public safety campus to our Walled Lake Linear Trail. We will be opening that afternoon, evening. We're looking to schedule the ribbon cutting ceremony at 5 with some afternoon activities running maybe from 4 to 6. So the obstacle course will be still on site for the kids to come and use once they get off school. We're also looking to bring back the petting zoo for the afternoon as well, and then also finding some maybe additional entertainment or another food truck to come out for the afternoon time. So we'll be servicing the younger kids during the Harvest Festival, but then accommodating maybe some of the elementary school students once they get out of school from like 4 to 6 during the ribbon cutting ceremony.
The ribbon cutting ceremony will involve Walled Lake's local officials. This is not for those folks who are running for statewide election or looking for recognition in other areas. This will be for my city council and the DDA board members who may want to speak. It will be led with the mayor's few words that she may have to say, and any other council members, and then next up would be DDA. This is going to be a local event. We're not trying to promote any other community or any other entity of government. This is about promoting Wall Lake's effort to build a trailhead for the bikes, and combine that with some other facilities that we got going on, training and all of that. And one big surprise, I might as well say it now, a young woman has agreed to sponsor and develop a committee to develop a monarch butterfly sanctuary in the areas over there that are available for planting the proper plants, milkweed and stuff like that. And what was the Greenway Drain, which will be the Greenway Sanctuary, and all of a sudden the areas that were going to be just drainage pools, and they look like rock gardens now. And that young woman is Loretta Witt, my 17-year-old, and she's recruiting the Wall Lake Central group to see who's going to participate with her, and she'll be partnering up with Hannah Jakeways to develop a monarch butterfly sanctuary for our multi-purpose public safety campus, as well as the trailhead. So that's the first time we've gone actually public with that, but look for that to be part of it. It probably grows next year. We're behind. It didn't happen as quick as we want. Nothing ever does in Wall Lake. It seems like we take a little longer. It's not greened up yet, but you get I encourage everybody to go before you leave today and walk through that, or park and get out and take a look. We're trying to get some grass grown in the next 10 days, but it's all leveled out. You get a good look at what you got and see what the potential for a monarch butterfly sanctuary. But the beauty of that will be when the people come down the bike trail and able to cross the bridge, get a place to fill up their water bottles and use the restrooms, or what we have available. The other trailheads have parking spaces, but it really requires more. And by doing that, we're able to use those multi-purpose facilities for all of that. So it's really evolving into what our leader on the DDA, Ambrose, believed in way back when. And we're trying to keep true to his image and keep it going forward. I would also expect that his replacement on the council would be giving a little bit of a speech on that too. That would be Casey Ambrose. We call him Junior, but he's actually Casey Robert Ambrose. So we expect the mayor and all the councilmen who want to speak, including Councilmember Lublin, and whoever wants to talk. That's what we got. That's why we put 4 to 6. They can talk for a while.
Perfect.
That's it
Are you going to refer to that?
Huh?
Are you going to refer to that as the Monarch Sanctuary from now on instead of the Greenway Drain?
Well,
Because that sounds so cool.
it's always
than
going to be
saying,
Greenway
"Oh, we got a
Drain,"
drain
because that's
over
what
here."
they call it. But there will be, the plans are in the beginning, and there will be signage to say Monarch a Butterfly Sanctuary. There will be, there's a lot of support for that throughout the country.
Oh, yeah.
And because that's a big issue nowadays, we can't put milkweed everywhere, but we will be able to do it there, we believe. And that's going to, we're getting it started with Central High School. And Ms. Jakeway, she's a Central High School grad too. But so whatever we can get going, and this is one of those projects that you can get students involved with, the volunteer project. You can, because when they got time, they can do that. This is one of the, a lot of times people want to get volunteers on stuff that, it really is not sustainable. But a monarch butterfly sanctuary can be very well staffed and run by students and committee members and anybody who wants to participate. So we believe that's a good additional use for our rock gardens over there. And I think it'll fit nicely with the other training facility we're putting together. It's a slow process, but we're going to be there by next year. So,
Mr. City Manager, if you can hear me, is there any chance, because of all the development we've done and all the future plans that we have for this area, that we could request from the County Board of Commissioners or whoever that we can rename that portion that runs through the city property, So we don't have to call it the Greenway Drain when we're referring to our campus?
I think we should call it the Eddie Marshall Butterfly Sanctuary. No, never mind,
It's
never mind.
got such a great name to it, right?
Well, I want to get a little milkweed planted first, but we can put that into option 2. Maybe that comes right from the committee itself. I got to see where that little 17-year-old, she'll be 18 soon, but she's over at Central, and see what she's got going with Miss Jakeway. The two of them, they plotted this, and I'm looking to see how that develops. But yeah, we can ask anything. The Greenway Drain on their maps, but it's been Greenway Drain probably from the beginning when they, so.
But it's just like the roads in Oakland County. You can travel M59, and then it turns to something else, and then it turns to something else,
Well,
whatever community it's in. So
Mayor, if you introduce an ordinance changing the name of the creek out back to anything, Greenway Drain or not, it would stick. It would stick. So what we call it versus what's on their map may be two different things, but we can rename that. We could call it anything that anybody wants, and that's why we have these open discussions. So, we want to get the sanctuary started. At the same time, it's growing in, so we'll put that on part of the agenda and see what the committee can get done,
Okay.
Do they plant milkweed now, or is it just grass?
Well, we're just beginning this project. I didn't want to even go public with it, but it's, we're going to be cutting the ribbon and stuff, but we may be a little late to get all of that done, because a lot of that stuff is going to be funded. We can get funding for the planning and all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of available programs for monarch butterflies, and and it's a great idea. So I don't know the answer to that yet, and those are the kind of questions that will have to be answered by Ms. Jakeway and her committee, and we'll see how many. I think there'll be a whole lot of people join in once this goes public. That we have people who think we should have milkweed everywhere. I don't agree with that. I think we have to put it where we can, but that's place I believe we can. I believe that it takes care of itself once you get it going, and we do a little maintenance in the areas there. So we believe that we get it going by next year.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the monarch butterfly the butterfly that's endangered?
Yes, that's the whole point. The whole point. Wall Lake gets the lead with them. Actually, most folks don't know it, but we have a little bit of a butterfly sanctuary out front by the library. And the prior library director, the librarian, she came to me some years ago and said, "Can we do this?" And well, of course you can, but it's just a little spot out front. But if you go out front, you can find out where it was out front in front of the library. And so every once in a while you could go over there and see the butterflies, and I think they still raise them, and the library itself is doing some things, but it's in a very small way. This is a little bigger. This was, and we may indeed invite the library group to come and participate, but this comes from Miss Jakeway and my daughter.
Perfect.
So
You should be very proud.
I am.
There's a little known fact, on Mackinac Island, they got a monarch butterfly house right on Mackinac Island, and my nephew wanted to work there years ago when he was in high school, and he worked at that butterfly house 2 years in a row, and it's really a cool
It is. It's a very cool place.
very cool, right on the island. He stayed there for the
Yep.
whole summer, and he liked it so much, he got to be crazy involved with butterflies. It's all he wanted to talk about for a while, and it's really, really neat, and you stay right on the island.
They're beautiful creatures. We believe that this will add to what we're doing. Recall that from the very beginning, this was always called a multi-purpose facility. It was never one thing or the other. It was all of that. We can't do everything everybody wants. I don't think we're going to be building pickleball courts over there anytime soon, or sledding, mountains. But a monarch sanctuary may fit very nicely in those areas over there, and so that's where we're headed. So the things that are easy to do, that can get funding, and still, I think it'll bring people by, if we can get it going like we have a vision for, that it'll make those bikers slow down and take a peek and see what we got, and look at the other facilities we got. So
I walked the site on Saturday, and our landscaping project really goes right to the edge of the trail, and now the trail is part of our campus.
Yes,
I mean, it really is neat, and that's without any sanctuary, just, it's all cleared out. I mean, I never saw the trail.
If you go on the trail, you get a different view. So now we have to promote the city's look from the trail side because they're driving by. So it changes the way we do business, which we're good with. That's what we're trying to do. But there's an additional thing. Like any other business, when you clean your business up out front and you manicure your sidewalks and you do that, then you hope that the business next door does the same thing. They don't always do that, but sometimes that's what happens. So when we get this done, then we can drive down the trail and tell Taco Bell, put your backyard to work for the trail. We can tell Husky Envelope to clean up the mess. We can tell, but we have to show that we've done it. And so we get the trail cleaned up from our facilities all the way down to to Pontiac Trail and probably in the other direction too. So that's the beginning. That's our intent. That's the discussions we've been having. And we believe it begins with our public safety facility, the multi-purpose public safety facility. And DDA's been right in the middle of it from the beginning. Essentially, the trail becomes another gateway. It is another gateway, which is what you're all about. Bring people to Wall Lake if we can. Anyway, we beat that to death, but I think it was a good discussion, and I'm proud of it that we're moving on that.
Okay, we can move into our second item, Pontiac Trail Resurfacing Project Status Update. And we do have a status update, finally. So if you've been driving through the city, as early as last Friday, the milling machines were out. Oakland County Road Commission is finally starting to do the work on Pontiac Trail. Cones were laid out pretty early or late last week, but the milling looks like it's been completed for the most part. No activity has happened since Friday, but we are monitoring it and waiting for the asphalt plants to, asphalt machines to come in and start doing the repaving, resurfacing work on Pontiac Trail. And what we do hope is it looks like they did start in the Walled Lake area by Blair's Place and worked into Wixom. So what we're hoping is that they do the same for the resurfacing. They'll start here in Walled Lake and work their way into Wixom. But they are moving on that, and according to their website, the start date was October 7th, so they are finally making some progress on it. So we're pleased to report that that project is finally coming to fruition.
There's a small section on Pontiac Trail that they did not mill. Do we have any idea why they didn't mill that
Oh, they're
section?
done. Like in front of the store, they milled one half of a lane, and then the rest of it's like this, so they haven't, they didn't even finish milling. I think they're
So
still
it's
milling.
not done milling?
Yeah, they did.
They could be coming back, but we'll
Or that's
double
just
check
what
with
they
them.
do. Maybe they don't all, I think they only mill the edges, and
No, they milled Pontiac Trail up
Yeah.
by the apartments all the way, the whole road.
No,
certain areas they drive
let me
back.
help out. Let me help out. First of all, we do not know what they're doing, and we won't know. We're not in a position to go tell them how to do that, although some people tell me that I should tell them how to do that. Well, the first thing you do there is you annoy everybody, and then it slows down. And so hopefully they're professionals and they get it done right. What they mill the edges for first is because they want whatever asphalt they're putting down to match the curb that's been there already for years, and that's what it has to match. The rest of it can be different because it's going to be crowning. So they're crowning, meaning it's higher in the middle and the water flows to the edges and drains, which is what you want. They mill some areas that are so bad because they determine, and they have their engineers and or their construction supervisors determine that this is not solid or not good, so they would mill it up. But if it's solid ground, in other words, it's solid, and they may not have to mill it at all. So, and they would also mill it to make it more level. In other words, if sometimes it's gotten bumpy because of what's way down, so they would mill it for several reasons, but mostly it's about matching the curbing and the grading on it. And of course, they can, but just because it's not milled doesn't mean it's going to be any less of a road. If our best example would be right now is Decker. They didn't mill all of Decker. They milled a lot of it because it was so bad, and they determined that it went way deep into so they milled it deeper. But some of that was not milled either, but all of the sides are milled to match up with the curbing. That's what that's about. But we won't know any of that. They don't, they're contractors. They get it. They don't want to hear from Wall Lakes. Yeah, they don't want to hear from Miss Jakeway at all, even though she tries to twist his arm. But I think you did get us a little extra work. She met with the contractor on Decker and got them to stay later after talking with her. So, but it's not likely we're going to be able to do anything. We believe they're going to start in Maple and work towards Wixom. If you go to Wixom and you see the cones out and you pay close attention where they've milled it, they went cross Beck Road. My take on that is they're going to simply do the intersection, but I don't think they're going past Beck Road too far. I think it's just to do the whole intersection because they did mill on the other side. But I think the milling starts at your place over right off Maple, and it goes all the way back around. I got up at 7:06 this morning and was driving down the street. Miss Jakeway's driven it 4 times herself in her own car because we wanted to report today that they're putting asphalt down. But we went this afternoon, probably 2 o'clock, and there wasn't anything. Those of you who are on Pontiac Trail would see it. You're in the middle of what you're doing. You would see it. So look for tomorrow. They say rain tomorrow, but sometimes they will asphalt in the rain. Depending on if it's a drizzle, they don't care. So could happen tomorrow, could happen, but we think it's this week. And we hope it's this week. But that's as close as we can get to an update.
That's fine. Okay.
Okay. Our next item, Mayor Ackley's Trunk or Treat. So presented before you is a mini flyer, and we do have some extra that we can distribute if you guys want to place them in your businesses. But the flyer just has additional information on what the event will include. And I don't know if Mr. Millen would like to speak on any of the events that are going on that day. But we did change the date from Saturday, when it was originally scheduled, to Sunday from 12 to 2. So please do note a time change.
And not to interfere with any football games.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's why they changed it.
Yeah, I had a couple phone calls on it, so we decided to change. So I expect everyone to be there with the trunk, right? Right, everybody? Be there with the trunk, right? If you know anybody, seriously, and treats, yeah, just don't roll up with the trunk. But no, I would like to get as many people as we can, because this is probably the first time that we're COVID-free, I would really like to jam it up. So if you guys know some residents, local business people, I mean, mostly Walled Lake, but Commerce is our neighbor, Wixom is our neighbor, Novi. So if you know some businesses over there, please feel free to invite them. We'd love to have them. I think, the more the merrier. We're going to have a petting zoo. Police, I'm sure, and fire will be like they're there all the time. We always get a good turnout, so love to have anybody that wants to show up and help out.
Yeah, this event was envisioned by the mayor some years ago, and it came to fruition. We view this in City Hall, not from the mayor's point of view, but we view it as a public-private cooperation, not only as a DDA executive director, but as city manager, that we're participating from the city side. The mayor leads that, which means it brings the business owners together and the people downtown, and we believe it helps downtown. It's good for the kids. I've never had a complaint about it. They just love it. And so we participate every way we can. I usually charge it back to the general fund budget, whatever we cost, but we fund it under whatever authority I have to fund extra stuff. But we want a good event this year, not only at the ribbon cutting, but at the and then we close out the year good. And next year, I think we hit the road running, and it's going to be a good year for businesses downtown. So I want everybody to come and everybody to participate, and hopefully the mayor is happy with how it goes down. It's got her name on it. It's got your name on it, Mayor.
In her picture.
And she hasn't aged any between this year and last year.
This has been 2-3 years now.
I know. Okay, next.
Walled Lake Beach Phase 2 status update. Last week we did approve or select the color for the fencing that's going to go east to west along the western side of Mercer Beach. So we'll be preparing the payment to Novi Fence to do the installation of the fence that's going to go on the western side of the beach. That will, they'll be coming in to do that within the next few weeks here. That is the status update on improving and beautifying the beach with what we can in small increments, piecemealing it. But we did select a fence to go along that side.
What color did we pick?
It's called Adobe. It's like a lighter gray color. I can provide an image through email with the selection on the brochure that we picked, if that helps.
How tall is the fence?
8 foot, I believe.
Couldn't make it 20 feet?
Nah.
Too bad.
We're restricted by what they got, but that is a high fence, and we did that on purpose because we're protecting whoever owns the property nowadays. The uninhabited home there we need work on that one. But whoever does buy it, they need to be, they need the privacy fence. Not only, they don't want to look over on the beach and see some folks there, and neither do people on the beach want to look in their window. So we're putting 8 foot in, and then on the other side of the beach, we're fencing off that area so that the activity from the bar doesn't flood into the beach, which is wrong. When they walk. Huh?
Isn't that the west side? Didn't you say it was on the west side?
Well, you know where the tiki bar is, so we're putting a fence on that side and the other side, both sides.
Yeah, both.
So we want to fence it off because the tiki bar activity floods into the beach area, and that puts us at risk for several things. First of all, we didn't authorize that ever, but they got gateways now and all that, and they've turned it into something, which is fine if they wanted to pay the freight, but we don't. And so we're going to fence that off because we can, and we want to keep their activity on their property and keep the beach activity that we're responsible on ours. That's the beginning of maintaining the beach. We do have complaints about the beach. The complaints about the beach is there's a lot of activity on the beach. Well, it's a public beach, and that's what somebody envisioned that many years ago, and it looked like this year it might have been the busiest beach time ever that I remember, and, it wasn't like I knew.
Closed.
Huh?
The beach was closed.
You took my punchline, Bennett. And I was going to say, and that was when construction and spikes were sticking up. So I think it continues. I think that having a public beach in this area nowadays, it's inviting to people, and they come and they leave a lot of trash. So we're cleaning it up. People complain, but our guys are, we have a minimum number of people, and they clean up as often as they can. And of course, when we have a big event, we clean up after that, but people complain, well, why isn't this cleaned up? Because there was a long weekend and people party. And that's what happens when you have a public beach that people like. So there's upsides and downsides to everything, but we are providing a service to folks who want to do beach work. So that's it.
Is it going to be 8 feet on both sides or just the one side?
What's that?
Is it 8 foot high on both
sides.
sides?
Both sides. You may or may not disagree, but or agree, but we're putting 8 fence up. We're putting 8 foot fence up because we want to protect everybody's side. We don't want these people to have to see that. We don't want the people at the beach to be looking in their window, should that ever happen. And we don't want the activity from the bar, which gets pretty frisky sometimes, and all kinds of activity flooding out onto our beach. That doesn't mean they don't go out into the street and come into it, but that's a different issue altogether. So we're putting up the 8 foot fence, and then we began to, we were making plans today about how to lay it up. We're not jumping into putting a lot of stuff in it like it was before. See how it works out, but we were looking at planning the beautification of the beach, additional shrubbery in the areas, not on the beach, but prior to that, without obstructing the view. It's a beautiful view now. It actually looks better than it did before, from my point of view. When you pull up there, no, yes?
No, I think it looks great.
Oh,
I mean, how much more do you need to do? It's a beach, there's sand.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the discussion I had with some people today. It's like we're talking about a little beautification, maybe some of those yellow mums or something, I don't know, that bloom until it's November. But there's people out today, if you go by there, they sit on the benches just looking out at the beach and looking out at the lake.
What about restrooms? Are they going to put,
Well, no, we're not. We don't have a plan to put hard restrooms in. The porta potty idea. I don't know if you like that term, but those portable johns or whatever they're called nowadays, we're going to always provide those. But we take them out. That turns into an event all by itself. Remember the story when we built them and we framed them in and we're making it pretty, and they turned into housing for people who lived in them. They quite literally lived in the porta johns. And the housing. So what we got is we're going to go back to the porta johns and make them as as acceptable as possible, and then move them out when it's time. We're not going to have them there all year round. We're not putting homes in.
Does the city own those porta potties?
No, we
We rent them?
Yeah, we rent them. We don't want to be in the porta potty business.
Right, yeah, because clean out's not fun out here.
That's a whole nother animal, And so we put porta potties not everywhere. We put them, in the parks when we have big events, but we put porta potties everywhere. When we have the downtown events, we bring in extras. We've got a couple that's been over here next door for the whole summer, right, for the farmers market or anybody else. But not only farmers market, it's pretty funny because I travel a lot around now, and you'll see people pull in and use the porta potty and then go. They come in to use the porta potty. So
We should make them pay toilets.
well, well, that's an idea.
You got me in trouble by that.
We're putting dollar bill changers in them.
Well, again, the porta potties are.
Problem
Not anymore.
with, having to go too often.
Well, we beat that one to death. So next.
That's what McDonald's is for.
Right.
Okay. Next.
That's about it, isn't it?
I think that's all that we have yet for managing and director's report.
I do appreciate you supporting my ordinance to improve downtown's business hours and stuff.
Makes sense.
It does to me, but other people have different view, and because it was written the other way. So I think that everybody ought to have equal time, and
No.
we don't close down the bars at 11. We don't want to keep everybody open, but any restrictions should be lifted and see how it goes. We have a good downtown. We have potential now. We have activity down there. We have some bad activity, maybe I'll mention that too. Some stickers went up, stop work orders. The place on the corner is not moving very well. Activity happened there that shouldn't have. The building's in jeopardy. The plans weren't done right, so it's all held up right now. So the corner building, the brick building, is in limbo right now, and we're concerned about that. But again, the owner went in, he talked a good game. He really did talk a good game, and came in and showed some activity. Everybody got excited, including me, and then the bottom fell out. And we haven't seen from him, and if what I hear is he's got property in Florida that he's have to deal with, so when he comes back. But that's a mess right now. And that's the kind of thing you have to deal with as an administration. It never goes like they tell you. And so that's why I'm so cynical all the time, if you think I'm that bad. But go look at that. He made better promises than anybody down there. But he's done nothing in 4 months. And now the building is at risk. And I think it's still got...
Windows, right?
Well, the first thing they did is take out everything, and the building is at risk. It's structurally, if he doesn't fix it, it won't be structurally sound. But we had that across the street. We had that across the street with somebody come in and kind of jury-rigged everything, and all of a sudden, his building's not structurally sound, but we caught that early. They went in and put in some safety measures. They put some jacks in and pillars and replaced it, so that looks like it's going well now, but it didn't go easy, We had to be the bad guys to get them to do it, and now we got the same thing with this one. We're concerned about it. We're concerned that the building doesn't survive his effort. So it's been months, so we'll let you know the next meeting where we are on that.
It's a hazard.
Huh?
It's a hazard over there.
Yeah, it's a hazard, and that's not something I want to inherit. But again, people are reckless. They maybe mean well, but then they can't deliver, or they discover something. But you can't be cavalier about when you're ripping up buildings, and some people are, even the ones who have experience doing it. All of a sudden, he found a mess, and he walked away. So I don't know when he's coming back.
Okay,
What do you do, condemn it? I mean,
good.
Ultimately.
You just get them to, you work with them to try to get them to take
Well, I
care
think
of it.
I think he went past working with them. We are working with them, but yeah, ultimately, the building could be condemned.
The building is unsafe, not the sidewalk.
No, the sidewalk's fine. The building is now unsafe.
something-
It's structurally unsound, and because they did stuff in there, and you know, that they shouldn't have done. They took stuff out, so we're working with them, Bennett. But I think Matt's question was, you know, what do we do in the end? Well, in the end, we could end up condemning the building. We have not only the authority to do that, you have the duty to do that. We just remember there was a house on Bolton. It was a sad kind of case, but we had to condemn a home over on Bolton. And this week, Ms. Jakeway got it demolished. And even if you drive by Bolton, you know, that's close to you, you'll see that the house is gone, and right now they're waiting. They do a final inspection. What's it called? I don't know.
It's an open hole inspection.
Okay, the open hole inspection is where they dig up to make sure that they're telling all of our inspectors we didn't bury nothing here. We took it away. So that's the final. Yeah, that's the final inspection. But we had to go through the whole thing and remove it. So it's going to be pristine. And of course, like everything else, we had the contractor come in. We paid the contractor. He brought in that very large backhoe and promptly ripped up the fence of the neighbor on both sides. So we have to like fix that. But they're not really that angry. They're not really that angry because the house is gone.
And they have a new fence
So they
coming.
said,
And they have a
we'll
new fence
work with you. So that's another job that Jakeway's got, is to get the fences up on both sides. You know, she's got working fences down on the beach, but she's working fences on Bolton too. But those are different kind of fences. But yeah,
Did that house have mold in it or something?
I'm sorry?
Did that house have mold in it, or?
Yes, it had anything, and it was as bad. Anybody remember the house down on Leon that we had to destroy too? Where the gentleman was living in it right to the last moment. We had to take him out and put him somewhere, you know, like get him help from family and all that. But it was caving in. It was moldy. It was dangerous, and to him and anybody else. And so this one was that bad too. But the lady that lived there, she moved away. We went into court. And which goes back to Matt's question. We went into court, explained to the court, this is what's going on, and we condemned it. And the house is owned, there is a mortgage as far as we know, so it's owned by the bank, even though apparently they were keeping up with the mortgage. So she had moved out, but still was paying the mortgage, somebody was. And but now it probably is going to end up being owned by the bank, the land. So we're cleaning it up as best we can so somebody will come in and perhaps purchase it and build another home on it or make it a nice looking area. But our job becomes the bad guy. We have to tear it down. And back to that, if it got that bad, we would have to condemn it and even tear it down if it becomes that bad. The city would have to do that. Those
You
are,
charge it back, right? You charge it back to the landowner on the taxes? How does that work?
well, you lien the property, and then if anybody buys it, they would have to pay it. So yes, the cost would go to the landowner. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping this guy comes back, but it's winter time now, so I'm not sure what he gets done and how it works. But it didn't work the way he promised, not at all. Yeah, and I bought him dinner or lunch. I bought him lunch.
Make them pay you back.
Absolutely.
No, he should. Anyway, that's it. That answers your question. We're not tearing it down yet. Bennett's right. We're going to work with him, but we can't give him a free ride, and I can't put the community at risk. We're pretty heavy-handed with the folks across the street, but they got it right, and I think they got all their permits and everything they wanted, and we're good. And one day next year, maybe I'll go buy a bottle of wine or something, you know. And so, but not till next year.
When it's done.
Yes. What else We got it, I think.
Okay. Bennett, make a motion to accept the warrant.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to accept the warrants.
Second?
I'll second that.
Just a little bit of discussion. I
Yes.
noticed that we received a state grant. Is
Yes,
that
we did.
correct? $15,672. Just a question on that.
What was that for exactly?
That's what well, I guess the accounting, maybe it was from a previous period that got accounted for in this month. But that's always good,
Okay.
all right? And then other than that, the outlays are just things that we've been doing, working on.
Okay.
I would like to mention before we close out that the intern, because you raised that before, she's going to be staying with us. She would go back to part-time after the farmer's market, but she's also looking at very likely going to the police academy. And we may very well be sponsoring her to the police academy, so we're certainly going to support her effort. She's really trying hard to get in that academy, and she wants to be the police. And we need to support anybody who's still willing to do that job. It's become a thankless job.
You think?
Yeah, I know. It's just like the military. I think they're hitting about 75% of what they expected to recruit to serve in the military, in the Army. They're not doing it. They're not coming for police work. They're moving in droves. So anybody who's going to go, wants to be a police officer, we need to support them. I know for real what it is to be a police officer, and our most recent event, which I won't get too deep in today, we're still waiting for the final call by the prosecuting attorney about the shooting. But those of you who read about it and heard about it, it was the real deal. It was Wall Lake. It wasn't Detroit, wasn't Chicago, wasn't New York City. It was Wall Lake. And it was a real live shootout. My officers and the sheriff's deputies were absolute heroes. And from where I sat and the evidence I've already reviewed, including the well-framed dash camera of the whole event, the shootout, I witnessed that already. I've reviewed the tape. They're absolute heroes, and they saved the woman's life. And it's chilling. We're waiting for the sheriff to send us the final report, all the evidence. I don't think we get it from the sheriff until the prosecuting attorney, because they said we want to look at it first to make the call whether the police officers did the right thing. That seems to be how it works, you know. I know they did the right thing because I saw the video, but they got to do that because it's election season, so it's
Yeah,
taking a long time.
anybody can be a backseat.
Everybody wants to run in front of the good guys and the bad guys, so. But anyway, we'll get that back to you, and I'm still proud of my people, but I won't be able to talk about it too much out loud, more than I've already done today, so, all right.
Okay. We still need to make a motion for the warrant.
So I made the motion.
Second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No opposed. And that being said, any further discussion?
Thanks, guys. Ladies?
Motion to adjourn.
Not yet.
Oh,
As I look around this room, we have a tremendous talent pool here. And I'm welcoming anybody that wants to make suggestions to make Walled Lake even better than it's already become. Dennis has done a phenomenal job, as well as Hannah and a few other people. And I think this is the best I've seen this city in over 48 years, and I've been here over 48 years. So if anybody has ideas, I think they should be brought up and discussed among us so that we can address them. Because everybody here has tremendous background, and we could do great things. And I want this DDA to do great things.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have been amazing. This is
I don't
the
know about
best
that.
I've
I'm
ever seen
amazed
this
because
city
I got
run.
people around me who, I learned a long time ago, you surround yourself with good people and people who are dedicated to the public service, because I did many years ago. Ms. Jakeway is an example. Does anybody know that she's acting Public Works Director?
No.
I heard that.
And has been for over a week.
He drives a truck now.
She's,
So when
You
the
gonna
coast
plow
gets
snow and
salted, we're
everything?
calling her.
Oh, yeah.
The road's not salted.
Dan wouldn't give her the keys to the little yellow truck, right? It's a red truck, Dan. It's
I
a
don't
red-
want to see you
but
blowing any snow.
Dan is, and he took her hard hat too, but she's been running the show, keeping it going. Dan will be back with us in a few weeks. He had some things, personal things taken care of. He's in good shape.
I'm well aware.
Okay, yeah. But you may not be aware that Ms. Jakeway is filling in, and this is just one more hat that the lady wears, and she's pretty impressive too. So she gets it done. The girls in the front office, the ladies in the front office, they're phenomenal. That's why it works. And what's phenomenal is my city council, the mayor, city council, and that sounds really corny, but you can't get anything done unless you got the votes.
Yeah,
And
no
everybody's heard it from me. You got to have 4 votes for anything. And of course, I say any 4, out of the 7. If I got 4 votes, I can get it done. And so 4 votes, you get it done. That's how it works. The mayor learned that a long time ago, like 40 years when she started. 4 votes. 4 votes gets it done. Probably before this mayor took over, they couldn't get 4 votes together, 2, 2, and 1, or 1, 1, 1, But when you get 4 votes together, you can get stuff done.
We have a lot of cohesion, so that's a great thing.
And that's what it is. That's called leadership, from political leadership. And then I'd like to think that the folks in every department I've got know a little bit about leadership too. So I would thank Ms. Jakeway for keeping this place going here and filling in for Dan. I don't think you can. You can't golf as good as he can,
No, probably not.
But she'll pass on the golf. She's more into pickleball, I think,
Are you?
It's got a pickleball court.
I suggested that.
I was poking at you, Brendan.
I know what you're doing.
Wait a minute, somebody say pickleball? Wait a minute.
No, the
You
recreation.
know what, I've never played pickleball.
No, wait,
But I hear that, it's awesome.
Wait, the Recreation Commission, she runs that too, her and Ms. Gross. And so they were last night, and somebody brought up at the, they want a pickleball court.
It wasn't just me.
No, well, I figure you got that started, so pickleball court. But let me just refer you to Commerce. First of all, Commerce is not that far. Like you could stone's throw and you're in Commerce. And so you're going to tell us right now where the pickleball court's going to be in Commerce.
Richardson Center.
Correct. At the
Richardson Center, right? And so you know so much about it. How much is that facility going to cost, council member?
I don't know that.
Let's ask Ms.
specifically,
Jakeway.
but-
Ms. Jakeway, how much you live in Commerce, how much is that pickleball event, how much is that going to cost?
$937,000.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
For 4 courts.
It's the same thing. We're going to spend, we're lucky to get the trail going, so we'll do pickleball when we get more money in the bank. But pickleball.
I did
No, we'll go
mention
play on
that was
Commerce,
something to think about in the future, because you are right. There are many other projects to spend their money
I
on.
knew that useful information would come up, that pickleball information, but
Just kept going there, didn't it? You wondered.
Hey, can we make a motion to adjourn?
yes, sir, that's good.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
900,000.